Hey, what's up you guys? So I got suggested to do a video talking about how to deal with anxiety without medication and just how basically people can cope with anxiety. These are just things that I personally have found to be even the slightest bit of helpful for me. So if these can help you, then that is me doing my job and that's the purpose of this video. So I hope these things can help you and let's get to it. So the first way that I can deal with my anxiety is to take yourself out of the situation if possible. So for instance, if I'm in a situation, if I'm at a party, if I'm just in a gathering, if I'm around people and then something is making me feel anxious and I feel like if I don't get out of there, I'm going to have an anxiety attack, I'm going to have a panic attack, then I just do my best to try to get out of that situation as much as possible. If I've been at a friend's house or I've been at a friend party for a couple hours and I feel like I've done my time here, I can't be here anymore, I need to leave, then I will leave, or I will tell my friends like, hey, I need to go, or I'll tell my boyfriend like, I really need to get out of here, can we please leave now, if not in the next couple of minutes. So I try to get out of there if I can. If it's a situation where I'm able to get out of there, then that is what I will do. The second thing that I try to do is take deep breaths and try to remind yourself that you are going to be okay. For me, it's a hard thing for me to do. I try to remind myself that everything's going to be okay, and I just try to breathe and I try to find a way to calm myself down, because I know that I will be happy about it once it's over. So if I try to tell myself everything's going to be okay, because majority of the time everything will be okay. The problem that's freaking me out is the internal struggles that I'm having about the situation. So just try to breathe, try to remind yourself that everything's going to be okay, because everything will be okay. The third thing that I like to do is I like to think of all the positive things that are going to come out of this anxious situation. Say you're feeling anxious about going to some big event or going to some job interview or going to this thing that's really scary and new. Just try to think of all the positive things that will come out of it. Like if you're too anxious to go hang out at this social gathering, just think of the positive things that can come out of it. You get to have time out. You get to have time to build on relationships with other friends, and if you're single, maybe build on a relationship with someone like as a relationship. That could be a positive outcome. If you're going to an interview, think of the positive outcomes of it. You could have this job that you really want. You could start a career. You can have this big successful life that you wouldn't have if you let your anxiety stand in the way of this situation. It's very hard to do. It may not calm you down, but it puts it into your mind that it's not as bad as you think it's going to be. It may not get rid of your anxiety, because honestly, it's not going to get rid of your anxiety. It never gets rid of mine, but it tones it down a bit and helps me prepare and helps me cope for the situation. Another thing I like to do is to prepare myself. And this kind of goes along with the last thing. I'm going to an event that I know that there's going to be this person there. There's going to be this thing that's going to happen that I know it's going to make me anxious. And this one has really helped with me, is that I prepare myself. I tell myself that I know this thing's going to be there. I know that this thing's going to happen, but it's going to be okay. I can do this. I'm not going to let it affect me. Because if you don't give yourself that talk with yourself, it's going to make you more susceptible to being anxious and letting it fully take over you. The next thing is, if you are really anxious to the point where you can't even move, you can't fathom or picture yourself actually getting up, going out, and doing this thing, then it's okay. It's okay to back out of things. It's okay to not do things. And it's okay to give yourself that time to relax. I know it's not a good thing to let anxiety take you over, but there's been plenty of times where I've said I was going to do something, but then my anxiety just overwhelmed me to the point where I couldn't. And honestly, the thought of not doing it was it brought me happiness. And that's why it's okay to do this. Sometimes you really have to push yourself to do things that you're not comfortable with, because it could help you with your anxiety. It can help you in the future, but also try to focus on your own happiness. If there's something that you really don't want to do and there's no benefit for you to go, then focus on your own happiness. And yes, saying no to things could make other people upset, but sometimes they don't understand, and they're not going to understand. But if you know that this will benefit you to stay back and not do it, and it will bring you happiness, then that's what you should do. Because ultimately, if you're happy, your anxiety won't be there. Your anxiety won't affect you. And the last piece of advice that I can give you is that if you are about to have a panic attack or an anxiety attack, or you are in the middle of having a panic or anxiety attack, my best advice would be, one, get out of that situation. As in, go outside, get some fresh air, and just sit down and breathe. And I don't want to say this really, because it could come off the wrong way, but just write it out. The reason I say this is because you can't stop it instantaneously. You just can't. You can shorten the process of your anxiety attack or panic attack, but you can't just stop it. So let it ride out. Go out, just sit down, just breathe, and if you can, do one of the steps that I said, and remind yourself that everything's gonna be okay. You're out of the situation now, and just keep breathing, and then it'll eventually end. And try your best. The best advice I can give you is just try your best. So those are the tips that I have for dealing with anxiety that help me, and I hope they can help you too. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and comment down below telling me how you deal with anxiety, or if you have anyone in your life that has anxiety. We could just have a discussion in the comments below, and then maybe it could help people, and maybe you have advice that I haven't given or that doesn't work for me but it could work for someone else. So let's have that discussion down below. Subscribe to my channel. I make new videos every Wednesday and Sunday, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!